Another little different start, guys. Welcome back to the channel and a new video. This morning I've currently woken up in a travel lodge in Buckingham. I'm just going to go and get a nice cup of coffee across the road. There's a McDonald's there, and I've got a guy coming to collect me and take me to the garage where his car currently is, and they've been unable to actually get the car fixed. It fixed the fault. He spent a bit too much money on it. It is a hybrid, first hybrid on the channel, so I can't really get into it too much, plus it's far too early. So as soon as we get to the garage and I know a little bit more, we'll cut straight in and let you know what's going on. Here is the car. We've picked it up from a garage over the road, and I'll be honest, there was some confrontation there, so I stepped away from it and we've actually taken the car away from the garage. The guy that owns the garage was actually trying to buy it off the chap, and the chap didn't want to let him have it for the ridiculous amount that he offered for it. So here's the car. We've pushed it over the road. We've got Yanni from YC Autotech has arrived in the building as usual. Thank you very much. There he is, guys. You will remember him. He delivered the Range Rover Sport and the Audi. Now this car, I didn't know, otherwise I'd have told Yanni. He's had to call a lorry. This is 4-wheel drive, guys, and we cannot get the prop off because the exhaust is in the way. There's lots and lots of stuff in the way. So Yanni's called a lorry. He's about 40 minutes an hour away. We're gonna go and get a nice bit of breakfast, and of course this can go on the back of a lorry. This come through a subscriber. We got him in the background. I'm not going to point the camera in your face, mate, don't worry. But he kindly reached out to me on Instagram, and this actually belonged to a friend of yours. And he weren't happy with the service that he's had. He's spent a lot of money on it. And
the service he's had has been diabolical, is the word you're looking for.
Right, well, I won't go into it too much, but yeah, he's spent a lot of money on it. I'm sure I'll elaborate a little bit further in what's been done to it, what hasn't been done, but we're not about negativity. We need to get this back to the yard and let Chris dive his nose in there and see if he can find out what's wrong with it.
Be done by lunchtime, won't it?
Hopefully, mate, yeah. So like with any vehicle we purchase, straight away we do a car vertical check. So it's come up Nissan V37 Infiniti Q50. Mileage okay, theft okay, accidents okay, finance okay. He did say he didn't buy it new, and you can see there was an ownership change in 2018. And then various MOTs and services all down there. Scrolling a little bit further down, you've got your stolen vehicle check. This check was performed in the United Kingdom, Czech Republic, Romania, Slovenia, just to name a few. Mileage graph there, all going in the correct direction, no dips in there whatsoever. And MOT last in January 2022 at 61,000 miles. I think it broke down a little bit actually after that. Don't forget, this is one of the only checks that checks all of these countries for any damage, stolen, finance, etc, etc. You've got all of them there that are listed. And right down the bottom of this check, you've got your 9 helpful tips and tricks of things to check out when you're purchasing your vehicle. When running your check, if you don't want to go in depth, here's just an example of what it would look like if there was an issue. So mileage okay, theft okay, accidents clearly highlighted in amber. If there was a theft, it'd be highlighted in amber. If there was finance, it'd be highlighted in amber, etc, etc. I want to thank Car Vertical once again for the continued support on the channel. To benefit from a discount off your check, use the link in the description or the code SR10 from any browser. So a couple of days later now, guys, and that was purely down to the fact that it was a Friday I picked it up, and I just wanted to get home. I'd had enough. I'd actually waited around all day. Not grumpy had enough, but I was quite tired all the standing around. But Chris, there it is, mate. You have seen it. You've driven past it over the weekend.
Lovely bit of car,
oh,
isn't
mate,
it?
honestly, it's such a lovely, lovely thing. Let me give you the key. And straight away off the bat, you can see what's wrong with it. So put your foot on the brake, push the start button up here on the dash. Push the start button. There you go. Warning, system fault. So,
no, sorry to interrupt. Nice on the miles.
Yeah, 67,000. He actually told me it had done at 80.
Chassis control system fault. I am listening. I was just seeing what that said there.
You know me, I was getting ahead of myself. Maybe try with the door shut and the glass down. Push that start button again. It just keeps flicking back to it, doesn't it?
Yeah. All new, this, isn't it? This hybrid stuff.
All new to us. Right, the first thing to note, I collected it from a garage. I haven't really got into that with you, but the chap at the garage was actually buying it off the owner.
Yeah.
And it turns out I don't really know what happened, but
no.
It was a little bit, I was in a bit of a situation
tricky
there.
One there,
yeah,
wasn't
so
it?
I took
all the sounds of it.
We took ourselves out of it. I asked the chap if I paid him, could he remove the prop shaft for us, because YC turned up, Yanni, and he had that spec in the back of his, that dolly in the back of his van, and he was going to tow it home. And the chap said, no, honestly, mate, I would do it for you, but we're busy, you know, we're fully booked for the day. I can't do it. So I asked if it was all right if we did it outside, and I'll be honest, I said to Yanni, would you help me push it across the road? And we'll ask permission to keep it across the road, because it weren't really fair. The guy thought that he was buying it. It was one of them situations, you know. But anyway, I'm not going to elaborate or even go into that. It's not what we're about. But we've ended up buying this car. It was an absolute bargain.
Well, we think
it's had a brand new air conditioning pump fitted at the cost of £1,800, and it's not resolved the problem. But that was the code that it was given, an air con fault. So it's had a new pump. It's been regassed, but the aircon pump in itself, come and have a look. You've never seen nothing like this. I know what you're expecting to see, and
sounds a lot for a compressor, doesn't it?
Have a look at that.
All right, that's a bit different, isn't it?
There's no pulley on it anywhere.
No, it's not belt driven, is it? It's
no.
Well, I suppose because the engine is not always driving, is it?
No.
So it's electric.
Yeah.
I'm guessing. Yeah. Yeah, it's an electric
aircon pump.
Yeah. And nothing wrong with that probably then if they fitted a new one, it's not rectified.
No, not at all.
It's got a bit of value.
Well, a new one's 1,800.
I wonder what voltage that is. Set yourself up with a little air conditioning system. Terrible. No, sorry. Go on. You carry on.
Go on. What voltage is it?
Just looking. See, it wouldn't say on there, would it? Well, I suppose it's run from the high voltage side of the car, isn't it? Which
So look, there's a few covers and stuff off from under the bonnet.
Yep.
It is a 3.5 litre V6 engine and a hybrid motor. Did you say you did a bit of research about the brake horsepower of this?
No, I know it. When I looked up more the hybrid system, it's a phenomenal amount of torque.
Yeah.
The engine produces 300 and something Newton meters of torque, and the electric motor another 200 or something. So
incredible.
A combined 500 something.
I haven't even mentioned, guys. This is an Infiniti Q50 S, and it's actually made by Nissan. Some people will say, how do you know it's made by Nissan? And as soon as I open the door, you can actually see the chassis number there, and it clearly says Nissan. It is a lovely car, but Chris, honestly, when Yanni, I haven't even told you, Yanni said, oh Rob, you've paid me to come, do you mind if I plug it in while I'm here? I've got my computer here. And I said, by all means, plug it in. And I was like, please stay away, because
high voltage, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not qualified.
No.
You're not qualified.
No.
And
you don't want to play with that.
No, you do
buy
not.
It, won't it?
It's like nearly 400 volts, I think the chap
you can't
said.
see it coming, can you?
All of this here, Chris, is in the boot.
Yeah, I just saw that, Rob. Yeah.
I think you'll be all right having a nose in there, but just don't.
Well, I think there's some kind of isolation, isn't there?
Yeah.
That's meant to be obvious for emergency services.
For the fire brigade and stuff.
But what's this here? Is this it? I don't know.
No, there's one this side. That's pedestrian protection.
Of course it is. Yeah, I'm not sure. We'll have to do a bit of research, but you can isolate a system, I think, can't you?
Yanni said he went on the course for hybrid electric, and he said, basically, don't touch anything orange.
That's helpful,
yeah, very helpful, but ultimately that is it. I think he just went and done the basic course because he has, of course, has to recover them and stuff like that. But What a lot of car and a
Yeah, I
lovely
was just
thing.
looking. It's got electric everything in there.
Yeah.
Inside. All the seats are electric. Steering column.
Yeah, leather.
I was just playing with it then.
Shall I come round that side? Because I haven't shown any of the car, Chris. I just showed Yanni was sitting in here playing around with it.
Lovely,
but there's all nuts and bolts there, and everything's got the chassis number on it. All the little bits of plastic and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, all electric seats.
Locking wheel nut.
Electric steering column.
Oh, it's fully loaded. I'll tell you what to do. Don't touch maps, but I noticed this. Chuck it in reverse.
Oh, look at that.
360 camera.
Yeah.
Put it in drive and try and drive forward. It won't know.
Shift to park warning.
Yeah. Just doesn't do anything. What should we do, mate? I am lost for words on this. Where do we go with it? What do we do?
And you say the guy was a specialist that had it in.
I think he...
So what are we thinking? If it did flag up a fault, aircon, that's in some way connected to cooling the electric system, is it?
I think on all these modern cars they have some sort of water cooling, don't they, for the battery?
I don't know.
Or possible aircon cooling, I don't know.
I'm wondering, I'm trying to figure why air conditioning would be linked to the hybrid system other than for cooling. But cooling the motor maybe, or the inverter, I don't know. But clearly that didn't solve the issue. So, but he said that flagged up a fault, didn't he?
Yeah.
So maybe we should scan it, see if that fault still exists. I'm sure they've probably cleared it, but if we scan it with our machine,
I don't think we've got anything to lose.
no,
We're
and
safe enough.
see if that AC fault comes up.
Yeah.
And look a bit further in depth at that, and see if it, we can find.
I believe we're covered. Obviously, people buy these and they drive them. We're covered to plug it in, but I know me and you are not allowed to touch that hybrid system. I
wouldn't really want to. We've not really knowing too much about it.
No.
But I'm kind of thinking if he was a specialist and it's £1,800 for the part, he was pretty confident that that was the root of the fault.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't just go and go, oh yeah, it's 1,800 quid, do it, would you?
No.
You'd have to be reasonably confident that you've found the fault.
You said it had an erratic electrical reading in... I've actually written it down after the guy said it to me.
What is this after they've changed the compressor?
Yeah, I actually spoke to the guy. Once everyone had gone, I went over and spoke to him and said, what do you... And he said, well, it's got an erratic reading coming from some module. And he said that was the next step to do it. And it was £1,200 plus VAT. And the customer didn't want to go any further with the car.
Well, you wouldn't have a lot of confidence after you just paid 1,800 quid, would you?
No, I suppose.
And then it's not cured it.
I'll go and grab the scanner. Let's get it plugged in and see what comes up.
Well, I
with.
think that's the best way, isn't it? And then go from there.
It's not going to cost us anything, is it? Let me go and get it. I know I say it all the time, guys, and I am going to say it again now. I'm going to let this load up, do a bit of a scan from obviously 1% right up to 100%, and then I'll hand over to Chris and he'll have a look on there. So it's doing the scan now, but it does take quite a while, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So there you go, mate.
Yeah, can you see that from there?
Yeah,
I'm cutting it off.
I'm going to cut it and wait till it's fully loaded.
ABS. Yeah, it's interesting that ABS has come up there. I did have a quick flick on the internet to see how the hybrid system on these works, because I've got no experience of it really. And something came up about all the different inputs to the hybrid control unit. It's not what it was called. It was called something else. I can't remember. But various inputs, and one of them, I mean, there's lots, but one of them is throttle position, brake pedal, brake light. But I think I saw something there about traction control and ABS both feed in to the hybrid control module.
Oh, really?
So that's interesting. I don't think airbag or anything like that would, but that's quite interesting, isn't it? that there's two.
It'll keep flicking up.
But
mate.
then that could be it's to do with it being rolled, towed, recovered from his house. So we may have to clear those and see.
How are we doing percentage-wise? 57. It's going to take a while. We'll let it do its thing and then have a look. Yeah, another one's just...
Electric vehicle, a hybrid electric vehicle fault 1. Oh, that's promising then, isn't it?
Promising, especially if we...
Brake 3, but that's possibly linked to the ABS anyway, isn't it?
I'm just going to leave.
They've had the battery disconnected and a new battery, haven't they?
It's got a new 12-volt battery.
Yeah, so that can sometimes in itself ping up loads of faults
Yeah.
that will need clearing. Chassis control, that's coming up on the screen as well.
Yeah.
Chassis control system.
Yeah, that's 100%. You can scroll back to the top now.
So
Could
ABS.
you slightly tip that this way, Chris? Is that all right? Thank you. And then OK on ABS. Oh, he's done it. It's on dial-up.
Yeah.
Read codes. That's going a bit slow today.
It is.
Electric driven intelligent brake system.
So that's a historic past one, and a current one is that one. Where do we go, Rob? Is it that
That's
one?
it. Ignition.
Counter. Escape that. I don't think that's...
Yeah, I'm not really sure, mate. I'll be honest. I think we're going to have a little play here and then
Right,
cut
let's
back in,
escape
otherwise-
that for a minute. Escape that. Current
High voltage fuse.
Wonder what that is.
Now, you know when I had this conversation with a guy in the garage, he said to me that's the fault he had. High voltage fuse. He's checked every single fuse and none of them are blown.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a standard fuse, would it? A
No.
high voltage fuse, because we're talking 400 volts.
Yeah.
So that's going to be like a fuse you'd have on a kind of industrial consumer unit in a factory, you know,
yeah.
a breaker,
yeah.
I would think. Well, I'm guessing that's battery pack related, aren't you?
I'll be honest, Chris. I am way out of my depth here.
But shall we just erase all codes?
You got nothing to lose.
It was just intriguing me about that air conditioning one. So let's see if that's...
What I'm going to do is cut this,
Let's
let you have a play, because I want to record you to keep for our peace of mind.
Yeah.
Because if this car goes off somewhere...
Chassis
I wanna
control,
tell 'em-
that's coming up. Sorry.
No, that's all right. I just want to tell them what
Okay.
codes we've erased. I'd love to drive this out now and take it for an MOT.
Yeah.
Engine hybrid electric vehicle system.
Which covers a multitude of things, I guess. It's just...
It has got a code here that I can look up, but
yeah.
what I am going to do is I'm definitely just going to cut this now
Right.
and record all of those codes you got
Yeah,
before
for
you
sure.
clear. Right, so that was a little bit of success there, because ultimately some of them was related to the fact that it had previously had a flat battery, but it's got one ABS fault that will not clear. ICC ADAS, which is this camera up here, which you're not going to get that to reset until you drive the car, and I'm sure that's not going to stop it from driving. Brakes, 2 faults, would stop it, and also chassis control, which is coming up on now.
But all of these, when you read them, are going back to the same thing. It's gone on dial up again,
fast
Rob.
forward
hasn't
these
it?
bits,
Yeah,
sort of.
just says that.
And that's for all of those.
All of those.
Every time Chris clicks
apart
into
from
one
the,
of those
the
faults,
ADAS one.
apart from the ADAS, comes up with that, which is C118C current EV HEV system. We're out of our depth, mate.
Yeah,
and that's the
yeah,
truth, isn't it? What do we know about it?
I think we're going to have to pay someone.
You know who is
specialist.
EV hybrid specialist and trained, don't you?
Josh.
JR Car Services.
Yeah, I think maybe we ought to give him a ring.
And get it booked in.
Yeah, I don't think we should play with it any further, do you?
I'm not playing with it any further. I'm not touching anything on this car.
But I don't know.
It did say battery good on here. The HV battery.
Yeah, we can escape that, can't we? Escape again, and you can go. Just let that one. You can come down here and see all the ones that are passed: engine, transmission, airbag, meter, electric power steering. Somewhere here I saw the high voltage battery. I think, didn't I? Yeah, high voltage battery passed, no fault.
Yeah, so.
And
there's nothing in there related to a motor either, so
everything there. So it is all those ones that are coming up the same.
It's literally, mate, nothing more we can do with this one. Let's get on the phone and get it booked in with Josh, yeah?
But I'm just wondering here that if it's high voltage AC, I'm guessing that is, isn't it? So, which we've determined that's probably for coolant purposes, not just keeping the occupants cool. Sometimes you get these red herrings come up, don't you? That one system doesn't work and that knocks another system out and it flags the fault.
Yeah.
And the fault's not there really. It's just because something else in the sequence is not working
in that system,
and then it cuts. So because that doesn't work, it won't allow something else to work. So it could be any one of those. Unlikely two components failed at the exact same time when he parked on his drive.
Exactly.
So it's going to be one, and it's going to relate back, isn't it?
I haven't even mentioned the fact that he drove this home, parked it on his drive, come out to it the next morning, come up with that fault, ain't never driven since.
So, I mean, what I read on the internet about all these systems that feed into the high voltage system, hybrid system. So, I mean, wouldn't it be nice if it was an ABS speed sensor or something like that?
Yeah,
you just don't. But where do you?
We don't want to fire a parts cannon at it.
We can't,
and we're not trained to do it. So,
no. Although I don't think that's nothing to do with although the signal is sent into the high voltage system. There's nothing electrical there to kill you. It'd be just like a standard ABS speed sensor, wheel speed sensor. So, which sometimes they do get a little bit.
What is
dirt?
I've never mentioned this before. You know me, I've got my little sayings: brand new, second hand.
Brand new, second hand.
Chris, one of your most favourite sayings from a well-known boxing promoter is what?
Stay in your lane.
Stay in your lane, mate. We are not getting involved in this.
No, I think it's worth the phone call to Josh first.
Definitely.
Take a photo of that, maybe.
Yeah.
WhatsApp it to him.
Yeah.
And say, that's what we've got. Maybe take a picture of what's come up there as well.
Yeah.
And let him scratch his head.
Yeah, definitely.
He might have, point us in the right direction.
Yeah.
Or he might, even better, might say bring it over.
Yeah, and as usual, we would both really appreciate your comments in the comment section. If you're a HV hybrid tech, if you know anything about this, if you've dealt with anything like this, because genuinely we are hybrid virgins.
Well, we are.
One.
We've established that that car doesn't have a starter motor.
No, it starts from
the electric motor. Starts it by engaging there's two clutches.
Which is crazy.
One each side of the electric motor.
Yeah.
It engages the clutch and the electric motor spins.
Starts the engine. It's crazy, isn't it? Let's get on the phone to Josh. Stay in your lane.
Stay in your
lane.
lane.
I don't mind saying it for the first time ever. What a waffle, Chris.
Do you reckon? I wasn't intentionally.
Do you know what I just said to Chris? There was a lot of talking in this video, but you said...
see that. That's just what I was kind of looking at.
Researching it.
Yeah. Just what feeds in, but...
I just said to Chris, really, we need to do a bit more in-depth in this. He said, Rob, what can we do? We're not electric experts. We don't know anything about it. We're not allowed to touch it. Yeah, you can see it all there.
Does it?
Yeah. So as soon as Chris said, get on the phone to Josh, guys, I've rung Josh. He's got 3 EV trained people there and hybrid. So what we've actually decided to do, he said he's going to go through his diary, see where he can squeeze us in. I'm going to ring a lorry round Kent Autos and ask him if he can just drop the car off to Josh. he said drop it off whenever you can. So ultimately, I don't think we're going to be, well, we're not going to be fixing that car.
Well,
we're
unless
getting it
Josh
fixed.
diagnosed it and it was something unrelated to the high voltage,
Yeah.
then maybe
I'm sure he'd tell us.
Yeah, yeah.
And he doesn't mind being on camera either. So.
No, so we might just pay him to do it, I think.
Yeah, very, very interesting for us because, like I say, it is our first hybrid and I'm really keen to hear your guys' thoughts on it. And have you dealt with a hybrid before? Have you dealt with an EV before? It is all very, very dangerous stuff and we're just going to stay in our lane and not get involved. So that is the end of today's video and the end of the video on the Infiniti. As usual, if you did enjoy it, hit that thumbs up. Drop us a comment in the comment section down below. And don't forget, if you want to reach out to us on Instagram, it's Salvage Rebuilds. And if you want to follow Chris on his jollies, it's Salvage Rebuilds Chris. We'll see you all very, very soon in the next one.